Almost every game in existence uses this function, but mine doesn't. And the function I'm talking about is random number generation. And I have a pretty good reason why I'm not using it, so hear me out. Now, it's worth noting that computers can't be truly random. So the random functions I'm talking about are basically really complicated maths that, while technically deterministic, will return a number that is basically, for all intents and purposes, random. And video games use random numbers all the time. Probably one of the most obvious examples of random numbers in video games would be in RPGs, where pretty much everything is determined by random numbers. Does this attack miss? Does it crit? What kind of loot does an enemy drop? Etc. Games like Minecraft or any roguelike, they use random numbers to generate their world in a process we call procedural generation. And there are plenty of games that, while not using randomness as a core gameplay component, do use random numbers in a bunch of subtle ways. So like in most platformers, you'll probably find a few elements in the game that are driven by random numbers. A pretty common example would be something like a boss fight, where the boss has multiple different attacks that they can use, but which one they choose to use on the player is determined randomly. Another example could be something like a hazard, where let's say there's a pool of lava and it spits flaming rocks at you. The timing of the flaming rocks, how many are being shot at once, where they're being aimed at, all that could be determined randomly. Now, if you've ever watched a speedrun of a game, or speedrun something yourself, then you know that sometimes randomness can be a bit of a pain. There are plenty of examples of games where in order to get a competitive speedrun time, you have to just kind of cross your fingers and hope you get lucky. Like maybe you have to get a specific attack pattern on a boss, or you just have to hope for a specific loot drop at the right time. Or sometimes it's just a really arbitrary thing. Like if an enemy decides to walk left, it sets up a trick that saves a minute from the run, and if the enemy walks right, then the run's basically over. Now here's the thing. L8R SK8R's core philosophy is that I want players to approach each level as if they were a speedrunner. It's a game that at its heart is about going fast and beating your records. So if I were to ever add random elements to the game, I'd potentially be introducing a serious problem. It wouldn't be a lot of fun if setting a new record depended on something other than the player's skills. I want the core experience to be about the player replaying levels because they feel their skills have improved and they can get a better time. What I don't want the game to be about is resetting the same level again and again just to get the most optimal boss attack pattern. And it could be a little tempting to sprinkle a little bit of randomness here and there, maybe for something like a level hazard or just the normal enemy AI, but I think there's a big risk with that. Even a small amount of randomness could easily make a difference of a few seconds in a run, and potentially even more if there are impacts that I couldn't foresee. So that's why I think it's better to just cut all randomness altogether and make everything in the game deterministic. And that hasn't always been easy, because I think there are a lot of good reasons why most games do rely on a little bit of randomness. Like, it's pretty easy to design a boss that just jumps randomly between different attack patterns. As soon as you remove randomness from the equation, you have to put a bit more thought into how the boss decides what to do. And I did lie a little, because there is one place I did use randomness. If you've seen my video explaining my loading screens, then you know what I'm talking about. But nothing that has any gameplay relevance uses randomness. I even made the lightning on my spooky level completely deterministic, even though I probably didn't need to. Anyway, here's a random thought to end things on. You should head over to Steam right now and check out L8R SK8R. There's a demo available if you want to check that out. I'd also really appreciate a wishlist because wishlists really help indie devs out.